Something beeped. Don't know what that beep was. All right. The music played. It was like a nice little intro. I like it. Just have a little background music as we get set up. Good morning. My name is Sean Shapiro. You might know me from things like Ask a Traffic Cop and TPS Traffic Jam, and maybe I give you a ticket once in a while, or once before. Before I got here on your phone or your television screen or your, you know what I'm talking about. This is Ask a Traffic Cop, and I'm a police officer from the Toronto Police Service here in Ontario, Canada. I answer your traffic and police questions Monday to Friday, unless something more important happens. Unless I get told I can't do it, because sometimes we have other things that take priority. But we're here a lot. We're here a lot, and it's all for you. So if you've got questions, we've got answers. Utilize those magical buttons to like and share and subscribe and all that jazz. But also use it so you can use the Q&A function on Instagram Live, where there are no current questions in the queue. I would say use the Q&A function of TikTok, which broke it 6 months ago, and I'm really actually sore about it. If you are watching on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, you can just use the chat. It works great. Drop a comment, and we will see it. Michael just did from LinkedIn. Rob Baker and Akela Draconis did it on YouTube. And yeah, now if you're watching on Twitter, I apologize in advance. You're kind of by yourself. You can watch us, but you can't talk to us, which is one of the reasons I say use the link tree in the bio. It's in the bio. Or go to trafficcop.ca, one of the two. They will take you to the link tree to take you to whatever platform you want to watch us on. TikTok might be the best, it's just saying, but YouTube's pretty awesome, gotta say, because you get the wide format. You see a different view. I mean, okay, for you guys, you're seeing this, but they're seeing. You can't even see my hands because you're not on YouTube. It's getting weird. Okay, what are we talking about today? Well, I put up, this is the first day that I posted a new Vision Zero enforcement backdrop. Every day I post where Vision Zero enforcement team is going to be. I'll tell you about what they are, but in case you don't already know, if you aren't here every day, you may not know. If this is your first time, you may not know what Vision Zero enforcement team is. Well, I'll tell you. They are a dedicated group of officers who spend their time changing driver behavior, well, by issuing tickets. No hugs given. It's tickets every time. And it's for good reason, because people are breaking the law. And when they're breaking the law, they get caught, they get a ticket. Hopefully, that's enough. Oh, no audio. I just realized I didn't turn the audio on for... Yes, sorry, Keenan. I forgot to power up the amp for you guys. Hopefully, you can hear us now. You missed all the funny stuff. You have to go back and watch it on YouTube to see what I hope was funny. Anyway, so yeah, this is I can't believe I did that. Anyway, I'll get over it. I will survive. Let me know in the comments, please, on Instagram Live if you can now hear me. Hopefully, yes, perfect. You can hear me. So yes, they are a group of officers who go and change driver behavior with a ticket. The hope is that you get a ticket and it's the last one you ever get, because well, you change your behavior to avoid getting another. It's amazing how that works. Today, it's a new photo and I like it because it's is it a Dodge Charger? I think that's what it is. It's a nice looking car. I never really appreciate, I don't want a car. I'm too big for a car. They're uncomfortable, but they do look good. In any case, that's what's on our Twitter. And you can get to all of our platforms through the link tree, which is on the bio of every platform we're on, or just go to trafficcop.ca. And if you go there, you can also go to our volley space where you can ask us questions all the time. I was catching up on some funnies that Michael put up and some stuff that Chase put up, but the Q&A section seems to be empty, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, it's threaded responses. I get it now. Okay. We have Jacob who says, we have some questions from, I'll read that in a second. Rob Baker says that YouTube is the best view, and he also wants to know when the fan meetup is. That's a good question. We will definitely have to get together and do some stuff like that, because there's events in the city that I'll be going to. We did one recently in 31 Division. That was awesome. Met a lot of folks who watched the channel, that came by to say hello and partake in the events at it was the 9th annual Emergency Services Appreciation Day, hosted by Tim Hortons. That particular Tim Hortons is a whole big story, and they're amazing people. So if you're watching, we love you. Now, if we're talking about other events, well, we just went to something at 42 Division, and that was awesome. It could have been busier, but we got some great photos and we had some great people, and we're going to have some good new episodes of the podcast coming to you soon because of the folks that we met at those events. So great opportunities. Hey, if you didn't know, we do have a podcast. TPS Traffic Jam is the podcast. You can also get that by going to trafficcop.ca. And what do we talk about? Well, we jam about traffic. We talk about things that are important to traffic people. And what's a traffic person? Anyone who uses the road. You're a traffic person. You may not have even known it. Whether you walk, ride, or drive, what happens on the road is important to you. You know, we want to keep you safe. So we actually have a podcast that is coming out. Well, we haven't filmed it yet. So once we film it, we'll be posting it. And it's folks talking about brain injuries. And, you know, some of these topics, you would have never thought of them as being something that would affect you. But amazing stats. In a brief conversation I had, I believe, and I may be misquoting, 60% of brain injuries occur from motor vehicle collisions. I didn't know that, but I do now, and I look forward to the conversation that we're going to have with those fine folks really soon, and I look forward to sharing it with you. What is your pet peeve? I meant to put this post up, and I'm going to put the post up later, but what's your pet peeve? What's your biggest pet peeve when driving? I want to know what you think is the worst thing that people do. I know a lot of people, based on comments in previous videos, don't like it when people go slower than them. But those people tend to be the people who are speeding. I assume, maybe I'm incorrect. Maybe there are people who are going way under the speed limit, and you're just trying to go the speed limit. So that could be that's a pet peeve that I hear about on a fairly regular basis. But I want to know from you, what do you think? No signaling. Oh, that's a good one. I'm seeing the comments pop in. All right, here's the question that's been on that Jacob threw out there. And he says, I've seen a lot of local police patrolling 400 series highways, running radar and making traffic stops over the past few days. I've only ever seen OPP. Well, OPP, that's their territory, but there's nothing to stop local police from working or enforcing things on those streets. I don't know if it's something that they're directed to, or maybe there's just a real problem and they're trying to, or maybe there's a joint forces initiative in play that I may not be aware of. But at the end of the day, police in Ontario can police Ontario, and they totally have the authority to stop you. So don't break the law. You won't get pulled over and won't get a ticket. Chase says pet peeve is failing to signal in roundabouts. I never know if people are going around or exiting. I was talking about this, I think, on yesterday's show. That drives me bananas. Roundabouts are supposed to be safer. They're supposed to be fantastic, magical beings or entities or things that make us go faster or get to where we're going faster because there's fewer stops. But they are so confusing for so many that they are somewhat dangerous, I think. And that's just for the folks who aren't signed up and paying attention to our show. If you follow us, you know that you don't have to signal in, but you do have to signal out, and that's to allow people who are waiting, they're yielding. They want to know what you're doing. They're not psychic. At least I don't think they're psychic. They could be psychic. I don't know. Do you think psychic's a thing? Anyway, there's so much to talk about. If you are asking questions in the chat, I'll do my best to see the chat and see you and acknowledge you, but it doesn't always work because I am but one person and you have many, many, many comments. So let's scroll back and see what we can see. Actually, let me go and I don't want to mess things up. I could end up getting kicked out. And the reason being is if I log into the live as me, as traffic services, I could very well get kicked out of the live, and that would just be bad. So I'll do my best to read what you're putting up here. Good morning, Vietnam. Yes, we have Vico Valley who's watching. How are we doing this morning, Mr. Shapiro? I am doing well, although I must say that I am really, really binge watching. Can I say 2 episodes in one night? It's a school night, so binge watching is 2 episodes. I should have gone to bed an hour earlier than I did, but I had to watch and one episode. Then the cliffhanger, well, it got me, so I had to watch another episode. What am I watching? I'm watching Manifest on Netflix, and I'm really enjoying it, and it's all Sergeant Kulik's fault because she told me to watch the show, and now I'm hooked. Let's see here. We have, TikTok has apparently filtered some comments. Interesting comment from Hannah. Let's see here. Can you buy the rights to the Bad Boys song? Are we talking about like from Chalk Circle, Bad Boys? That's Chalk Circle, I think. And I grew up watching Cops. I loved watching Cops. That was a great show. Was it the reason I'm a police officer? I don't think so, but it certainly was. It was cool. It was cool. I really enjoyed it. What do we have here? Biggest pet peeve for Michael is people using their phones. Yes, it is a major problem. And what is that major problem? The major problem is that it's incredibly dangerous. Distracted driving leads or is responsible for so many collisions, and I would say more so even than impaired driving. It is an epidemic. Yeah, that's a problem. Chase says he left a voice message for us here. Let's see here. Gotta get to the speaker. I want to put this up on this. That's too loud. Okay, let's hear what you got to say.
How are you allowed to pull out your phone on a traffic stop since you're technically not legally parked most times?
Oh, interesting question. So, how are you legally allowed to use your cell phone while you're being stopped by police? Well, technically you're not. I mean, it's considered distracted driving because you're not legally parked. But yeah, I get what's happening. We wouldn't charge. That would be just insult to injury. We would not. I cannot say that we would charge, or I can't imagine anyone charging you for pulling out your cell phone, even when you're allowed to provide your insurance records now electronically. So, I would say that you're falling under a gray area where you're being stopped by police. You're lawfully stopped at that point. The police have stopped you. So I'm going to say that that's going to be outside of the normal. But you make a good point. Distracted driving is using your phone while driving, but using your phone while driving or anywhere that you're not legally stopped. So you are legally stopped or legally parked when the police pull you over. I'm going to go with that. Very cool. Still no sound on Instagram? Oh, that's probably an old one. All about vehicles. This is an old question or an old statement. We got some good morning, brother. We got some thanks for your service. You're very welcome. Will I get fined for going 110 on the highway? Well, you're speeding if you're going 110 on the highway, so you could. We have Chend who says good morning. Let's see here. Can you lose your G if you only got 2 weeks? If you only got it 2 weeks ago and you get into a sideswipe collision? I don't say accident. It says accident. I ignore what you say as accident and say collision because accidents just happen. Nobody's fault. But collisions are based on someone's boo-boo, and that's what happens when you're on the road. Okay, so could you lose it? Yeah, you could lose your license based on collisions and charges that result, but not simply because you were in a collision. It depends on the fault and what happens. Generally speaking, you don't lose your license based on one incident. Even if you lost a whole bunch of points, it wouldn't be a complete loss as a G driver. Let's see here. Keenan likes the photo of the new VSET Charger. It is nice. It really is. There's some unmarked versions, and we have some marked versions. They're just neat cars. I don't want to drive one. I want a truck. I want to drive a truck everywhere I go. Let's see here. Ooh. How hard is it to become a police officer or any kind of law enforcement? Well, it's a competitive process, but I can tell you that if you're interested in becoming a law enforcement officer or in particular a member of the Toronto Police Service, we are currently hiring. If you want information on that, go to www.tps.ca/careers for more information, and it's all there. There's also contact information to speak to recruiters who are waiting at phones right now, hoping that you'll call them and sign up because we are actually hiring. And not only are we hiring for police constable positions, we're hiring for special constables for civilian jobs as well. Parking enforcement, although I don't know if the job calls are current, except police constable is absolutely. Jeff Keller says, it's your favorite troll, me. You know what? We have so many fantastic folks who come and join us, and it's become a community. We see you all the time, and we appreciate your support. If you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service here in Ontario, Canada. I go live on social media to answer your traffic and police questions because I know stuff, and I want to share what I know with you to make the roads safer and hopefully explain some laws that you may not have known about and maybe protect you from getting a ticket, save you a couple bucks, maybe protect your insurance rates, because we can avoid these things if we know what they are. And if we just sort of bounce around hoping bad things can happen. If you want to join us on our Volley space, go to trafficcop.ca. That will bring you into a link tree. And on that link tree, you will find many, many things, including my personal and the main accounts for social media. But you'll also find the Volley, and you can ask us questions there. It's a community, 113 people. So nobody signed up to the Volley. It's free. What are you waiting for? Come join us. Let's see here. We have Akela who says, worse than not signaling is having the signals on and not turning around the world to the right anymore. Okay, here's the deal. Yes, just the signal that never ends is a very annoying situation. But I have so many other pet peeves that bother me. These are people who are that comment is based on a question I asked like 10 minutes ago about what's your biggest pet peeve when driving. Let's see if we can find some more. No, I don't see any, but we'll keep up. We'll keep up going. And question of, is it illegal to overtake vehicles? Passing is not illegal. It's illegal to speed while passing. That's not allowed. But not if you can't pass anybody, that would really make for an uncomfortable drive to work, wouldn't it? Samir says, thank you for your service. It's my pleasure to serve. I joined the police to help, so I'm very happy that I can. And let's see here. Some people cross the yellow/red light even though there's a jam at the intersection, makes you hard for other people. That's failed to clear signalized intersection. So if you enter an intersection and there's nowhere for you to go, and it turns red, you're now on the hook, and you can be charged for failed to clear signalized intersection. You're obstructing traffic. You are part of the problem. You're creating gridlock. So don't do that. Don't cross the intersection unless there's somewhere for you to go. Now, it's different when you're turning left at an intersection. You can charge the intersection. You can be in the intersection waiting to go. And when it turns amber, you can clear the intersection because there's somewhere for you to go. If it's gridlock, don't do it. There you go. Okay. That's one of my that's a huge pet peeve for me, but I have lots of them because for every law that I see and can identify, like I have a big problem with all the e-kick scooters that are in Toronto when it's against the law, because I know it's against the law, not because I'm against kick scooters. I just know that it's against the law here and people are doing it anyway. So that's a problem. My bigger problem, I think, is actually the e-bikes that are modified doing high speed. I'm on an e-kick scooter and e-bike rent because I've been posting about that for the last couple of days. But it really bothers me because these are people who are they absolutely are driving motor vehicles, things that everybody else is paying license and insurance and tested for, and they're just making their own modifications so they can have effectively a motorcycle and not pay license and insurance. And when they hit someone, and they do hit people, they're not insured. So the person they hit's in big problem. They're having a big problem. Start suing people. It's a mess. All right. And they don't have insurance, so they get messed up. They get the poop end of the stick. Okay. We talked about that one. Okay. Oh, wrong button. Don't want to mute anybody by accident. Why is no one? Oh God. That's actually Paul. I saw an article about that. About this police stations being opened up in Canada from foreign agencies. I don't know enough about it to comment on it. I just read an article briefly about it, so that's concerning. Someone wants to go live, but we don't go live with anybody. Tracy says, good morning to you. Undead Neon, good morning. We have someone shared. Please share the live. If you want people to like you, you'll no. The truth is that there's some great information here, and not everybody knows about us. They're missing out. If you share the live on TikTok and every other platform, if you retweet us and forward our links to our YouTube and so on, it just helps more people find out about the goodness that we are sharing here. And that's what it is. We really are just trying to help. So if you didn't know we were here before and you want to, get to be able to get the credit from those people who saved money on their tickets, avoided collisions, and led better lives just because they join us on social media streams, you get all the credit. In fact, if you message me, I can actually tell people specifically, yes, it was all because of Bob. All right, what is this? Okay, good day, Sean. How's it going so far? That's from King Richard. It's going well. Today is good. Actually, very productive day. And you may have noticed a stream pop up earlier with the DeGiro logo across the front of it. I was testing some interesting equipment. I was testing this magical box. And I didn't realize that the stream that I was testing was actually broadcasting. So I was broadcasting essentially a blank screen. Let's see here. It was kind of funny for me and embarrassing. A woohoo from Sherry Lynn. What is this? Can I bar windows and drive with it bar over windows but able to remove? I'm not really sure what you mean. You want to put bars in the back windows, as though like police cars for transporting prisoners? Why would you want to do that? Maybe for security if you're transporting equipment. There's nothing against. There's no rule that I'm aware of that says you can't put bars in your windows. If you were going to be in there and transporting people, I would be very concerned because in event of a collision, you could either injure them or prevent the emergency personnel from extracting them from the vehicle. At least when moments count, you could be adding unnecessary work for them. And seconds do count when bad things happen. What do we have here? What is the next product after e-scooter? Wile E. Coyote's Acme Rocket Boots. Phenomenal. Actually, what about those one-wheel balance I don't know what they're called. I actually don't know what they're called, and I don't want them. I don't want them on our roads. I don't know what they're called. They're one wheels. Yeah, we talked about them briefly yesterday. They are dangerous. I've seen some pretty gnarly collision videos featuring those. Okay, Michael says demerit points are bad that are gained from charges, and he has none. Demerit points are good from a policing and public perspective, and the reason I say that is because as you accumulate them, we can figure out how to take your license away, or your license just gets taken away eventually, and that's good because people who are accumulating lots of points shouldn't be on our roads. They're dangerous. They're no bueno. Aaron, what's happening? You're wearing a hat.
I am. It's a different
Aaron's going to come join us.
I'm in the chat already.
Oh, are you? Let me know when you're ready for a microphone, and I'll give you some volume. In the meantime, I will scroll.
Someone had a really good question I think you should answer. That's
Oh,
why I
yeah? Let's
came
go
over.
for it.
It was
That's what motivated you to come say hello.
it was a streetcar operator, and they're wondering what is the fine, and if there's a fine for running the open streetcar doors.
Oh, most definitely there is.
Yeah.
And you'd think I know what that is from the tip of my tongue, but it's so long ago since I've laid that charge. And I have, because we find that cyclists and some motor vehicle operators just don't get it. That, pedestrian folk, they're walking out of that transit vehicle, and they need to be protected, and it's your responsibility to do that. So it's pass open door, I think it is. No, it's not pass open door. Maybe if I do this. I may have to look at open door, pass streetcar improperly, $180 fine. No, it's actually it's approach open streetcar door too closely is $110. Pass streetcar improperly $110, but if it's in a community safety zone, it's $180. Also carries 3 demerit points. So if we pass streetcar improperly, does that specify where the person in charge of a vehicle or on horseback or leading a horse on a highway overtakes a streetcar or car of an electric railway operated in or near the center of the roadway, which is stationary for the purpose of taking on or discharging passengers, he or she shall not pass the car or approach nearer than 2 meters, measured back from the nearest door of the car, and that person is approaching and through the blah, 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 blah. This is very wordy. In other words, don't do that, because it's $110 or $180 if it's a community safety zone. And now I've been refreshed. I'll remember tomorrow, possibly, maybe. If you drive 150 highway, what happened? If you drive at 150 kilometers an hour, I assume that's what you mean. That's stunt driving. Doesn't matter what the speed limit is. Even if it's 110 and you're only doing 40 over by doing 150, you're still doing something really, illegal. I was going to say stupid, but then I didn't want to be mean, and now I have been anyway. So if you're doing 150, it's stunt driving anywhere, regardless of what the speed limit is. And what will happen when you be charged for stunt driving, if we're lucky, if you're doing faster than that, I hope you get arrested for dangerous driving, because that should be criminal. In any case, you get for the stunt driving, you're going to get an immediate 30-day suspension. Roadside, you're going to get a 14-day vehicle impound for your ride, regardless of who owns it, whether it's mom's, dad's, rental, boss's car. Yeah, bad things happen. You are responsible for all the towing and impound charges. Now, once you're going to court, because I assume most people are going to try and fight it, when you're convicted, regardless if you go to court, actually, when you're convicted after you pay it, they can impose 1 to 3 years of suspension, $2,000 to $10,000 in fines, and up to 6 months in jail. And that's for the first offense, because as it continues, it goes up. You get the next time, you can actually do a 3 to 10 year suspension, and on the third time, it's a lifetime ban. So good things happen to those who choose to be really silly on our roads and put people's lives at risk. We're so focused on trying to slow people down and make the roads safer, and then individuals choose to do really, really silly things like stunt driving. There's a video that's being circulated, and I look forward to one day charging this person, but there's a video circulating of a guy driving or ghost riding. He's out of the motor vehicle. I say he, I have no idea if it's a male or female or other. They're on the roof of their car. The door is open. They're on what I think is the Gardner Expressway, and they have somebody filming them. I'll have to put the video up later. This is the epitome of stupid. They're stunt driving, and there's just so much bad that could happen. So, yeah, there are possibly people trying to identify you right now. Just saying. Let's see. Let's move on. I was probably going with a larger message, but it just came out. That's pet peeve number 637 I just listed. Let's see here. I just did 160 all the way home. Haha. Now this pops up. Jordan Marinier. I don't know what your name is. Don't speed. I don't know. Why would you do 160 all the way home? That's just so irresponsible. And I'm sorry, I'm a traffic guy. I got to call you out when you do silly things and when you claim responsibility for driving like that in a dangerous way. You're just lucky you didn't kill anybody. And so many people say, "Well, I got Bembo brakes and I got 100 and what I've got 500 horsepower and I'm going to use all of them." All these silly things. I don't get it. Let's see here. Hey, can I get a ticket if I cross an amber light on camera traffic lights? So the camera systems won't trigger for an amber light ticket. Well, police officer witnesses you doing it. We've got room. You want to join? We got another mic. You just need to plug in another set of headphones. So if you're the red light camera will not catch you, but a police officer would. An amber light ticket is the same as a red light ticket in terms of consequences. And essentially, it's if you could have stopped, you should have stopped, and you didn't. So now you're getting a ticket. That's how that works. I'll wait until turn this microphone around. Undead Neon says that it's called a one wheel equals unicycle. Yes, it is an electric unicycle, but there's something called a one wheel. It's actually a brand, and that's a different product. Let me put the mic up there. Sergeant Kulik, hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Oh, here, I'll turn it this way. Yeah, my computer's in the way of you twisting that thing. There we go. There you go.
Perfect.
So many computers here. I am looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screens, not including the little one on our mixing board. I don't think that I have another phone here. There's a lot of electricity here. I'm getting a tan. People think that I get this glow just from the sun. No, it's radiation from all the screens that I'm staring at all day long. I should probably see a dermatologist. Okay. What is this? I'm 27 years old and holding a G2. Can I drive on the highway between 12 and 5 alone or with passengers? Okay, G2 drivers, here you go. The conditions between 12 and 5 are for passengers that are under the age of 20. So 19 and under, you can't have, 27, now you know what, I gotta look it up again. Because is there a thing for age for G2 drivers that ages you out and allows you to have them? Do you know if that's a thing?
I think it's a time frame rather than
Is it just a time frame?
I believe so, but better to look anyways.
I'm going to double check. Okay, so we're talking here G2 conditions, because I think it still applies. G2 conditions, Ontario. Google's an amazing thing. Let's see here. No. Until you obtain your full G license or turn 20. So there is a thing.
Oh.
See, I thought there was a thing, and now we've confirmed the thing is, in fact, the thing. So it says.
Things are good.
There's stuff and things. We're all about stuff and things. Where is it? I go to I click the link, graduate licensing, applying for a license, proof of identification, blah, 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 blah. So much. Come on, where's the conditions? It gave me all the stuff I want. Here we go. No. Did I forget? This is bothering me now. Why would it give me all the answers I asked for, but now it's like the last? Okay, instead of using the scroll wheel, I'm just gonna go hardcore. And, I'm clicking the drag bar and dragging it. There we go.
This is stuff you can look up to on your own on the Ministry of Transportation.
There's a lot of stuff we talk about that you could look up, but you know what?
We'll still talk about it.
We'll still talk about it. So I think you might be okay, but let's double check. Check your driver's handbook. Which I would do later, but I don't want to dwell on this more than I already have because this has gone way too deep down the rabbit hole. So, yeah, you might be exempt at being over 20, but the deal is that that 12 to 5 a.m. condition is exempt for family members anyway. And we're moving on. We'll come back later. And is it Rajwinder? DM me. We'll talk. Okay. Will police understand tourists being nervous around armed police when it's not normal for us? We're pretty easygoing with people who are nervous because they're just nervous. There's a lot of people from different places around the world that have, preconceived notions based on their experiences about police, and we're pretty easygoing. We smile a lot. If you're not breaking the law, you really don't have anything to be nervous about. But yeah, we're pretty understanding. Nervous isn't a bad thing. Being a criminal is a bad thing. Different thing.
Sometimes breaking the ice too is, if you're visiting from another country and you're not sure, bring a friend with you. Come up and talk to us. Come up and say hi, and you'll see we're nice people, laid back, and the way we do policing might be different from your home country, but we're here to help in any capacity. So just come say hi.
Absolutely.
Break the ice.
I remember working with the motor squad for Caravana one year, and we had some folks who were in from was it Detroit, somewhere in the States, and they were like, "You guys are awesome. We've never met such friendly police."
I've
We were
had
just kicking
that
back
many times
yeah.
from people. Yeah.
But I got to tell you, I've been to the States. I've spent a lot of time in the United States, and I've always had a great time with the police there. But I've been police, so I don't. Everyone has different experiences.
Yeah.
I made a right turn on a red light and got fined on camera. Is that an offense? I had no right turn. It had no right turn? So here's the deal. Red light cameras trigger if you fail to stop for the red light. What direction you go in after you fail to stop for the red light is of no consequence. It makes no difference. Whether you go straight or turn right, if you didn't stop, you broke the law. So right turn on red light requires you to stop first and then proceed through when it's safe to do so. If you see it's clear and you just run the red light and make a right, you've broken the law. So that would make sense. And if I misunderstood your message, please set me straight. Orange Juice wants to know about law sticking tires past out the okay, law about tires sticking out past the fenders. I don't know how I jumbled up that question. But Orange Juice, the answer is you cannot stick out past the fenders. Your tires must be covered by a fender and mud flap if they protrude from the body. And or fender flare, you can get extended wide body kits, but you got to cover it up. Otherwise, you are improper tires and you're subject to a charge. Let's see here. Okay, let's see what we got here. We have a couple of things to catch up on. I was walking downtown and had a TPS day. What?
What?
These young cops are ridiculous. Wish I got his badge. What happened? Someone said to you, "What are you looking at?" Yeah, okay. Well, let me know the story later. Hey, are rickshaws legal to drive on the road, or are they similar to e-bikes once it's capable of going over 32 kilometers is not road legal? So our rickshaws are not battery powered, and they're not e-bikes that I'm aware of. Maybe there are some now, but I think rickshaws are legal. Are they not? I've seen them on.
Yeah, they have city permits.
But you need a permit to operate as a business, or do you need a permit to operate a three-wheeled bicycle? I think they're just three-wheeled bicycles and lawful on the road. I'm assuming. I've never even thought about owning a rickshaw.
Yeah, I don't know.
But is a rickshaw the description of the bicycle or the business function? Like the definition. Is it both? We'll go with both.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
That's a City of Toronto question, I think.
Yeah, because I know that they operate, and I assume they operate legally. I just assume they're bicycles.
I haven't seen them in a long time, but historically they were down sort of on Front Street and
Right.
around the Rogers Centre.
I've taken one before. I've taken one to get to like Ontario Place just from the X Grounds parking lot because it's so big and long.
Yeah.
But that's in a parking lot. That's not on the road.
It's I think I punished somebody by making them pedal me once before. You will pedal me. I'm heavy. You will work for this. Yeah, I did. I don't remember where I was.
I hope
but
you
I
gave a good tip.
I don't remember. It's foggy. What is this question? Is riding side by side legal on a motorcycle? I've had this discussion because police operators generally do, and they train for it. I don't think there's anything on the books that says it's illegal. That doesn't mean it's a good idea, because I can tell you that unintentional contact happens. Staggered is better, where when you bunch up for stops at lights, but then spread out when you're riding, giving yourself the full lane to avoid things. Because if you're side by side truly, and something happens, you've got nowhere to go. But is it illegal? It's not specifically illegal, but it is not necessarily wise. What is this?
Someone actually on the topic of motorcycles, someone had a question I said I would pass along to you.
Sure.
Because they cannot find the information. What is the appropriate age to ride on the back of a motorcycle?
There is no appropriate age. There is an appropriate size in that you must be able to put your feet on the passenger pegs. I've even seen kits that raise pegs up so smaller people can legally ride on them. In terms of maturity, it's a decision you as the operator or rider has to make, and ultimately you want to make sure that the person who's going to be on the back of your bike stays on the back of the bike and doesn't wiggle or lean in the wrong direction and send you off the road, because that happens. If you've never ridden a motorcycle, every movement you make of your body or your passenger's body can influence what happens in the direction of the motorcycle. An experienced rider can compensate for that. An inexperienced rider may find themselves off the road and into a tree. I saw a really, really bad video of a guy. I say bad. It was not gory. It was not horrific. But they basically were on a motorcycle. There was something happening on the back of it. They rode off the road and dumped a passenger into a pond as they continued along the way. Like it was just complete mayhem.
Wow.
And I can only imagine how they came to be there. Like, I hope they were okay, because the person who ended up going for that short flight could have been seriously injured. But yeah, if you're going to take a passenger, whether they be adult or a child, make sure that they're mature enough to take direction and not wiggle around and not fall off.
And
'Cause
the
you'd be
other
responsible.
thing too is we've had our kids on the back of the motorcycle when they were quite young, but make sure you've got the proper fitting helmet for them, as well as the
Yes.
proper riding jacket, pants. No flip flops and shorts, that type of thing.
Well,
It's not that
it's-
you can't,
Right.
but
Road rash sucks.
yeah, just protect yourself, protect the person on the back of the bike, right?
I think motivation to wear proper riding attire was really pushed home when the nurses told me about using a wire brush to take road debris out. Like the things that can happen to you in the event of a collision where you remove many layers of skin. It's but road rash is not fun. Look it up online. Googly goo it. It's not good. TJ says, I like you. You have a good attitude. Thanks. Thanks very much.
Yay!
One win. We have a win. What is this? People don't seem to realize that a vehicle is the most dangerous weapon people possess. It's the most common weapon, for sure. I don't know is a car more dangerous than other weapons, or is it on equal standing? Certainly, you can do some damage there. So when people are irresponsible with their motor vehicles, yeah, they treat them as weapons, or they become weapons. It's just bad. Don't do silly things, please. So many people are affected by poor decision making behind the wheel. Not only could you hurt someone, yourself, your family, your friends, communities, the ripple effect is enormous. We're seeing far too many people seriously hurt, and often killed as a result of poor decision making, whether it be speeding or distracted driving or aggressive driving behaviors or impaired driving. All these things have such high risk, and it can be avoided. I saw, what is this? I saw a front seat passenger standing out of the sunroof on a residential road filming. You didn't think that was an intelligent move. I'm paraphrasing what you actually said. Aside from the fact that that's a seatbelt offense, I don't know what else we would go with. Possibly dangerous or careless operation for the driver, because they're knowingly continuing to drive while that person's in a position that would obviously be breaking the law. But people do some silly things for nothing. Nothing.
Yeah.
And like I
All
said,
to make a video or take some pictures.
or have a cheap thrill.
It's crazy. There's a lot of other better things you can do for that.
David says, pro tip, speed on Christmas Day, staff is cut to save overtime. I can't confirm or deny, but don't do that, because Christmas Day would be a horrible day to not come home to your family or take someone else's life because of a stunt or silliness. Just don't. Let's see here. Yes, Tracy's talking about the fact that you need to come to a complete stop before you make your turn to avoid getting a ticket. Yes, speed camera, not speed camera, but red light cameras will catch you. Can you get arrested hours after driving impaired, or do you need to get caught in the act? Why do you want to know? There's all sorts of different things. Does your vehicle have to be in motion to get stopped and charged? No. But generally speaking, we tend to catch people while they're doing things or shortly thereafter, or in relation to events. Usually, if we come to your house 5 hours later, I don't know how we prove that you're impaired. But at the same time, don't drive impaired. It's so much simpler that way. So can you get arrested after hours of drive? Everything is going to be depends, because I don't know the specifics of the investigation that you're dealing with. What if I drift track on my own property? Would I have to get paperwork done so I won't get fined? Yeah, your track has to be an actually acknowledged, built, purposefully presented track. I imagine you also need a pit crew and emergency medical staff. I don't know what the requirements are going to be to operate, but it's got to be. I think it's more than putting up a sign that you printed in your computer, on cardboard and stuck in the ground. Just saying. I think you probably need proper insurance to qualify it, permits from the city. Like I think it has to be a proper track. Now,
And maybe checking with your insurance company first to see
would
if
they
that's covered.
Well, tracks don't. For your property, you need to have insurance on your property, especially if you're having anybody other than yourself on it. But insurance, motor vehicle insurance, won't cover you on a track, any track. You are void when you're doing things there. What is this? It doesn't matter when someone cuts you off and you can't react fast enough. I don't know what crazy fish lady is talking about. And that's actually the username, so I'm not making fun. What is your favorite part of this job? Which job? Policing or being a media person, or which part? I love what I do. I've loved it from day one. Now let me go back. Day one's a long time ago. I started as an auxiliary, as a volunteer. I loved that. It was a great way to be involved in my community, give back, participate in things that I never would have seen any other way. I loved being a court officer. I was going to say supervisor because I ended as a supervisor. It was a great job, a great career, and I have made amazing relationships, friendships that have lasted 20 plus years. And I love that. I became a police officer, and I've loved working in divisions. I've loved being on the road as a traffic guy, and I love being in the motor squad, and I love what I'm doing now. So this has been a job, a career with so many different jobs and opportunities. It's fantastic. And you know what? You can do it too. We're hiring. If you're interested in becoming a member of a police service, more specifically our police service, check out tps.ca/careers, because all the information you'd ever want to know and more is right there. You can also get information to reach out and speak to a recruiter, because they recruit. That's what they do. I got to check over here. We have Jay says, it's easier to ask questions on TikTok and look it up ourselves. Then to look it up on ourselves. He just commenting the fact that Google well, here's the deal, and we appreciate, we joke about it all the time. I'm answering stuff you could have looked up yourself, but I realize, and we appreciate that very often the information that's available online is a statement that means nothing to the average person, because it's either in legalese or it's confusing or can be interpreted differently. And we're telling you the end result. We're telling you, as a police, this is how we interpret, this is how we put it into motion, and this is what's going to happen. So we're giving you a much bigger, fleshed out, what's another word for big and magical? I don't know. We're giving you an answer that means a lot more. So when I joke about you could have Googled it, I totally appreciate that we're here for a reason. It's not just to avoid Google searches.
And we're giving you the Ontario laws.
Yes.
So what you Google a question, you could be getting something from California or, Europe or whatever, right? So at least with us, we're giving you exactly what it is here. And that way you know for sure while you're on our roads.
For sure. So many people write to us and say, we're visiting from Europe, we're visiting from the United States. What are the rules? We want to know. We want to make sure we're doing things legally. This is the perfect opportunity. Nowhere can you go and just get information and access to a police officer like this. It's the only place. We're the only ones in the world. Actually, that's not true. There's some people who are jumping on, and we're good. We're starting a trend here where other people are doing similar things.
They'll never be as good. Okay, maybe they'll come close second.
Nah, we were here first. We're putting the flag in the moon. We're it. We were. Jace wants to know if there's a legal way to film rollers of my car. Rollers are photos of your car while it's in motion. Generally speaking, well, yes. So don't hang out of a car. Don't do that. Don't have a photographer doing some dangerous things to get a picture of your vehicle. Don't sit on the roof while people take rollers like that. Oh. Anyway, there are so many different ways. Suction cup mounted cameras, great way to do it. And if you have them properly secured, that they're not going to come loose, they're not insecure, they're safe. And as long as they're not impeding your ability to see. Now, very often you put the suction cup camera on the other vehicle, not your vehicle, but great camera angles, a lot of creative ways. Do it on private property. Do it in a parking lot. Do it in ways that you can be safe. Don't do it on the Don Valley Parkway. We had somebody hanging out of a window to get rollers of a Lambo, and it's just silly and it's dangerous. So there's also proper professional rigs that can be harnessed to a vehicle, trailer hitch mounts, all sorts of things. You cannot sit in a pickup truck bed to film. Many people think that's a good idea. It's not. Private property is probably the best way to do it. And a lot of people using drones. If you have a permit, you can use drones, but you have to be in compliance with the laws for that. But drones are giving rollers a whole new perspective, literally. I like drones. I'm waiting for my drone to get fixed. I broke my drone. I'm really
You have
sad
way too
about
many
it.
toys.
It's cameras. It's work related. It's important. All right. What is this? On second day of severe snow hits this year, I speed to avoid the truck, and I got a speeding ticket. Where are you that there was snow? What are we talking about? You talking about last year? Please tell me there's no snow anywhere. I don't want to hear about snow. We're not ready for snow. Got caught in an intersection because of an ambulance. Light turns red. Camera flashes. What happens? Camera doesn't flash if you're already in the intersection and you get caught by an emergency vehicle. It's when you cross that line. If it changed before you crossed the line, you're going to get photographed. If you're in the intersection and it changes to red, you're not going to be photographed. You have to run the red light, not have it go red while you're stuck there. So you should be fine. What is this? Nick says, Big Sean, and I am here. Rick, what's oh, that's TJ's message. Rick, I got lots of stuff here. What do we got? Tracy in the United States, Ohio. What are we talking about in Ohio? Ian says, I've got a great voice for podcasts. Well, thank you very much. Sometimes I have a great voice for radio. Sometimes it's... But we do have a podcast, TPS Traffic Jam. It's available anywhere that podcasts are available. Your favorite app, Apple Podcasts. We're actually hosted by Anchor. So it's Spotify. It's everywhere. But thank you very much for the compliment. Okay. We've got lots of conversations. How do you feel about internal reviews after misconduct versus external review process? I've not really had to worry about that because I follow the rules, but I'm not familiar with the processes of one over the other. I sort of live by a rule of don't do stupid things, and then you don't have to worry about it. You never know. People who do the right thing are often reviewed, and if you're doing the right thing, hope that everything turns out okay. I don't know. I'm not a review person.
The process is there for a reason when there's allegations made, and it needs to be there because, unfortunately, it doesn't matter if it's in policing or you're in the private sector. Sometimes people do things that aren't proper, and those people need to be held accountable. Mm-hmm. However, there are times where allegations are made that are unfounded, and those also need to be, proven as well, and so that officer, or again, no matter where you work, that person can go on about their business and continue working. So the process is in place for a reason, and it's there for a good reason. Whether it's an internal or external, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and if you're doing it all by the right thing, mistakes happen. People do make mistakes, and I'm sure I've made my share of them. But if you're operating with the best interests and it was a good faith,
that's what matters.
Yeah. Can you put bicycles on your vehicle roof instead of putting a bike rack which blocks your plate? Absolutely. There are bike racks that go on the roof, but you have to be very careful about knowing the height of your vehicle, because we often see people drive underground not remembering that they have bicycles attached, and those bicycles become detached and very damaged. So be wary of your heights, and that doesn't matter whether it's a Thule luggage rack or just putting a mattress. Just if you modify the size of your vehicle, know what the size is. Truck drivers know the height of their vehicle so they can see bridges. Now that's obviously much larger than just putting a bicycle, but it's a significant change to the size of your vehicle. And make sure that they're secured properly regardless of how you're mounting them, because an insecure load charge is not fun. Akela Jacona says he has a voice for silent movies and a face for radio. That says a lot, my friend. Okay. What do we have here? We have, I got pulled over for flames coming out of my exhaust. I can't imagine why. Because, that's not legal.
That just says stop.
It might be a heat score. Are flames shooting out of an exhaust a heat score?
A hard yes.
A hard yes. That's Sergeant Campbell weighing in. Yeah, you're creating a large amount of unspent fuel to then ignite, and I don't know why anyone would be upset about that. In terms of Environmental Protection Act or just bad idea. I think there's a couple different ways we can go about that.
And it's a good idea that flames won't come out of the back if your catalytic converter is actually working.
Oh, that might be a hint that your cats aren't working properly? Interesting. Okay, good to know. Let's see here. Do I have to stop at stop signs on private property like malls and plazas, etc.? Well, we can't lead charges for running the stop sign in a private property mall, but you're still responsible for any collisions that you cause. So stop for them. And if you're doing something like, I don't know, going around and around in a racing kind of environment, like you're treating a private property parking lot as a track, that might be stunt driving. That might be dangerous driving. That could be a number of things that you would still be chargeable for. Just saying. Traffic cameras versus officers. I think both do a great job. I think that traffic cameras are great when we can't be there, and officers are the best choice given the option. Because when we write a ticket, you get points to the driver, and when the traffic camera gets you, you just get a fine. And I don't know if that's a big enough motivator to change behavior. It may also not be it's not the driver who gets charged. It's the vehicle owner who gets held responsible. But not in every country. Australia, You get charged, you get points, and if you want to throw your buddy under the bus because you lent the vehicle to him, then you can do that.
Interesting.
We'll say a relative of mine got a notice in the mail that may have arrived to my house saying that when they were driving in Australia, they may have sped. It was not me, so it's a relative that might have lived with me when I was growing up. Just my brother. Okay, fine. It was my brother. He did it. Oh, you guys are so tough. It made me talk. Okay, talk about four-wheelers cutting off trucks. I assume by four-wheeler you mean car and not ATV, because I don't know why they'd be ATVs on the highway, and I'm assuming you're talking about the highway for one reason or another. Yeah, car. If you're driving a car or a small vehicle, know that an 18-wheeler, a semi, can't see things right close to the vehicle. You're cutting it off. You're probably going to become one with their bumper. They need a lot of time to stop. They can't react like you're, like a Pinto. Pinto? What's another small car? Pinto seems to be outdated. They need more room. Give them space. A Mini. Oh, Mini. Do you remember the dump truck? A person driving a Mini cut off a dump truck last year or the year before. I might be conflating years because it was just during COVID, I think. And this Mini ended up sideways, being pushed down the Gardner Expressway. I don't think he even knew that he was pushing a car. He just kept driving. So yeah, it's a tiny car. The hood was over the top of the car. They had no idea. Now the smoke coming out of the burning tires that were traveling, they weren't rolling. They were just sliding. I think that was an indication that there was a problem.
That's a clue.
That was a clue. Yes. What was a smart car? Not a Mini. It was a smart car. Okay. Either way. Are super lifted trucks legal? I see them all the time here in Alberta, where most pickup trucks are so lifted when you can't even see who's driving it. Monster trucks are not street legal. There is a maximum ride height and a distance from your headlights to the ground. I think there should be, or there may be, a distance from bumper to the ground, because if your bumper is over that of any vehicle you may bump into, it's certainly not doing anything for safety. But I don't know. I know about the headlights. I don't know. Yeah, we have to look it up. I'm just guessing at that point. But it's bad. There is a concern about, if a large vehicle very high were to come in contact with a pedestrian, that's concerning. But is it legal? Depends on what we're measuring. 3-inch lift kit is what I'm told is the maximum lift kit for bodies, and then it's a headlight situation. What do we have here? Under the HTA, why aren't impeding traffic tickets issued to people who slow down traffic? Just curious. So they do get issued tickets on occasion. It's not the priority of what we do. We don't focus on slow drivers. We focus on fast drivers, aggressive drivers, distracted drivers, and impaired drivers. We call those the big four. But when people are impeding traffic and they're in the left lane, stopping people from passing, they're going significantly under the speed limit for no good reason, then they could be charged for unnecessary slow driving. But we have to see it. And very often people are frustrated because they see it and we're not there, and we can't help you then. If you're going to drive under the speed limit, stay to the right. If you're going to drive at the speed limit, stay to the right. If you're going to be speeding, don't drive because you're not allowed to speed. Speeding illegal. Okay, what do we have here? People think that when they're passing, they're allowed to speed. Oddly enough, you're not allowed to speed ever, at all. Not even a little bit. One of my favorite questions was always, what percentage can you legally speed? You can't. What is this? Is it legal for me to drive with tinted windows when I'm from Ohio, but might be illegal in Canada? Technically speaking, if it's an unsafe vehicle, it's an unsafe vehicle here, regardless of the laws back home. Might you get a courtesy of not being taken off the road? Possibly, maybe. Depends on the situation. I don't know how tinted your windows are. We do allow tint on windows here, not on your windshield, mind you. That's unsafe, and I can't imagine unsafe being permitted on our roads. Just like some states, this is 100 years ago. You didn't have to. It wasn't compulsory insurance. Well, if you drove to the border here and you didn't have insurance, technically they shouldn't have let you in the country because you needed insurance to operate on our roads. So the laws here still apply. What happens? You might get a break. You might not. But Christopher, it's a good question. If you can't be on your phone unless it's parked, can I get a ticket for using Apple Pay at a drive-through? Here's the trick for that one. On the highway, you have to be legally parked on the highway. So if you're, or you can't be driving, and driving includes stopped at red lights or anywhere other than being legally parked. You can't impede traffic, but it's on the highway. And a highway is any road, but very few driveway or drive-throughs are actually on the road. In fact, I've never heard of one
Nope.
that's on the road. They're all in parking lots, and parking lots, private property. That particular law does not apply. Oh, I can invite TPS Bike Cart to go live. It's giving me a notice.
What?
What?
That wouldn't. I don't think that would.
No, I'm just telling you. It's just told me, yeah. How much hassle do you get for windshield banners? Windshield banners, if they interfere with your ability to see, so anywhere that your windshield wiper wipes, that is going to be an obstruction for a driver. And yeah, if I saw it, I'd stop you and charge you. $110 fine, I believe. What's the story behind the last time you got pulled over while off duty? Did you get a free pass? The last time I got pulled over off duty was before I became a police officer. I was a kid. I got a stop sign in Thornhill, Richmond Hill. I think I was talking about this recently. I even know the police officer that wrote me the ticket when I was a kid because I know him now, because he's a motor officer now. So I met him and I'm like, "You're the guy who gave me a ticket when I was a kid." Yeah. So I haven't received a ticket for many years because those tickets, I had a speeding ticket as well, did wonders. They changed my driving behavior. I became a better driver. I didn't take risks, or at least took fewer risks. It took me a while to grow up. You know, I was a kid. I started driving at 16. There were a couple of years of me still being stupid before I shaped up. And I say that just me being stupid. I'm not saying that anyone who's a kid is stupid, although other people have said that. I've not said that. Let's see here. What do we got? How come people wear... Why do people who wear turbans not have to wear helmets on a motorcycle? Because they went to court and they fought for the religious right to the exemption because their religion prevented them from being able to wear the safety piece of equipment, and that took them out of the game of riding. And they made an application and it was granted. And that's it. They have a religious exemption.
Yeah, under the Human Rights Code, right? There's certain things that are allowable or not allowable. And that probably falls under that category as well. So
yeah, and at the end of the day, you still have to wear a helmet if you're not a practicing Sikh. Let's see here. I passed a speed camera driving 10 kilometers under the speed limit, and the camera flashed as a scenario. You're the second person in the last 48 hours to mention that. If you're under the speed limit and it flashed, it may have been flashing for somebody else. It may have just been, making sure it works. I don't know. But you if you're not speeding, you should be getting a ticket. And if you do, you can certainly have a conversation in court with the folks if they issued that in error. Let's see here. Do you guys report back to the United States if someone gets a ticket here when they're traveling? We have a reciprocal agreement with our neighboring states. I don't know about other states, but I know that Michigan and New York get reports, and vice versa. Reciprocal. They do for us, we do for them. Let's see here. What is this? If the maximum speed limit on the highway is 100, you're driving at 80, will you get a ticket or not? No, it's not illegal to go 80. If you're impeding traffic, like you're in lane 1, which people like to call the passing lane, then if people are dangerously passing you on the right because the flow of traffic is higher, then you could be, and very likely should be charged. If you're going slower than the speed limit, stay to your right. And obviously, if you're doing 40 on the highway, that's 100. I don't care what lane you're in. You should probably be investigated and charged for impeding traffic because that's just unsafe. Okay. We got 11 o'clock, which means it's actually time to say goodbye. I want to say here, what are diplomatic license plates in Ontario? They're license plates that have diplomatic ties. They're tied to the, what is it called? The embassy.
embassies,
Yeah.
they're usually red.
Yes.
Yeah, white with red letters.
They used to be all red, and now they're white with red letters. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's all. That's really it. People think that means they can do whatever they want. It doesn't actually work that way. But it's good to know. It's good to know. What was this? Jay says, Sean, if I have tint that's, we talked about this already. If I have tint that's legal in another province but illegal in Ontario, will I get ticketed while visiting? You could. We talked about that. All right. With that, anything you guys want to say before we say goodbye? I've been talking a lot.
Happy Tuesday. We have 3 more days to go this week.
Yes, it is. You know what? I feel like it's fast approaching. Like it's only Tuesday, but like we're gonna blink and it's gonna be Wednesday. and it's a long weekend next weekend.
It
isn't
is. It's Turkey weekend.
Turkey
coming up.
weekend. Do you have big turkey plans?
Little turkey plans.
Just there were no big turkeys available.
Well, normally we do a 30-pounder.
Really?
Yep. And we
big.
have all the fixins and lots of leftovers. But this year it's going to be a little bit smaller, a few less people coming. So
That's awesome. I'm gonna try and be low key. I don't know if I can just relax. A day of sleep and rest. Okay, cool. Jace, I appreciate it. Jace was just saying they were just relaying that it wasn't their question. He wants us to know. He doesn't have tinted windows. It's for somebody else. Asking for a friend on TikTok. Ever been pulled over just for the cop to say happy birthday? I cannot claim that I've been pulled over for that reason. Have you ever been pulled over for someone just to say happy birthday? No, it's never happened. Okay. Well, listen, we'll say goodbye. We'll do it again tomorrow at 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. because that's what we do. And I hope you have a wonderful day. If you're going to drive sober. If you're going to park legally. If you're going to sing well. And we'll be back tomorrow. Just because I love it so much, and I have not gotten tired of listening to it, I will play for you the Song of Songs, the traffic song, written and performed by a member of our traffic services unit right here, recorded at my desk. Here we go.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed, and watch your driving. Don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed because you might go to jail.